Start with verse 3. So Adonai-Zedek, king of Jerusalem, appealed to Horam, king of Hebron, Aaron, king of Jermuth, Japhia, king of Lachish, and Debar, king of Tabon. Come up and help me attack Gibeon, he said, because it has made peace with Joshua and the Israelites. Then the 5 kings of the Amorites, the kings of Jerusalem, Hebron, Jerimoth, Lachish, and Eglon, joined forces. They moved up with all their troops and took positions against Gibeon and attacked it. The Gibeonites then sent word to Joshua in the camp at Gilgal, do not abandon your servants. Come up to us quickly and save us. Help us, because all the Amorite kings from the hill country have joined forces against us. So Joshua marched up from Gilgal with the entire army, including all the best fighting men. The Lord said to Joshua, don't be afraid of them. I've given them into your hands. Not one of them will be able to withstand you. And after an all-night march from Gilgal, Joshua took them by surprise. And the Lord threw them into confusion before Israel, who defeated them in a great victory at Gibeon. And Israel pursued them along the road going up to Beth Horon and cut them down all the way to Azekah and Makkedah. And they fled before Israel on the road down from Beth Horon to Azekah. And the Lord hurled large hailstones down on them from the sky. And more of them died from the hailstones than were killed by the swords of the Israelites. And on the day the Lord gave the Amorites over to Israel, Joshua had said to the Lord in the presence of Israel, O sun, stand still over Gibeon, O moon, over the valley of Ajalon. And the sun stood still, and the moon stopped, until the nation avenged itself on the enemies, as it is written in the book of Jasher. And the sun stopped in the middle of the sky and delayed going down about a full day. There's never been a day like it before or since, a day when the Lord listened to a man. Surely the Lord was fighting for Israel. Then we're going to verse 40. And so Joshua subdued the whole region, including the hill country, the Negev, the western foothills, and the mountain slopes, together with all their kings. He left no survivors. He totally destroyed all who breathed, just as the Lord, the God of Israel, had commanded. And Joshua subdued them from Kadesh Barnea to Gaza, and from the whole region of Goshen to Gibeon. And all these kings and all their lands Joshua conquered in one campaign, because the Lord, the God of Israel, fought for Israel. Then Joshua returned with all of Israel to the camp at Gilgal. Let's pray. Lord, we thank you for the day. We thank you for the opportunity to study your word. We pray that you'll guide us in truth and help us to understand your son's name. All right. Still studying Joshua, as we figured out. Last week, we took a look at Gibeon and the deception that they pulled off on Israel. How they heard what Joshua had done to Jericho and Ai, and how they had totally destroyed them and left them in the situation they were in. They were a few miles south and to the west, which we're going to look at in a minute. So they went to Gilgal, down at the camp on the Jordan River, where Joshua was to meet with them and the elders, or the leaders of the community. And they pretended to be from a faraway country. And we saw how they carried off that ruse and the way they did that. They also flattered Joshua by telling him they had heard how great his God was, how he had defeated the Egyptians and the kings on the eastern side of the river. They didn't mention Jericho and Ai. It was like they didn't know anything about that. So they referenced back to the other, like, oh, we're from far away. We heard about all these great things you've done in the past. And so they make this reference here, and they flatter him and make him feel good about themselves. And they propose a treaty that they would not attack them if they ever came to their land, wherever that was. And whenever they came, and that these people would be their servants. So Joshua and the men of Israel, wasn't just Joshua alone, it was the leaders, so they made a treaty with him. And great words, we probably talked about last week. They said, the Bible says, but they did not ask counsel of the Lord. And because of that, they made a covenant with them to let them live. 3 days later, the truth comes out, as it always does. They were upset. The people were more upset with the leadership than anything, as you probably talked about. And Israel went to Gibeon, surrounded them, but did not attack them, because they had made a covenant, an agreement. A promise is a promise, and as Jesus says, when you make swear by heaven or swear by God or any of those things, you got to honor it. So they honored it, and they decided that they would be forever woodcutters and water carriers for the people of Israel. Later on, you'll find that they did do a lot of that. So that kind of brings us up today. After that, they go back to camp in Gilgal, which is their home base, and go from there. I want to take a few minutes and kind of run through some of where they've been and go, and the things we're going to talk about a little bit today as we study. So we'll kind of go from there. All right, let me get this blue off. All right, first of all, I have to build a bigger here. All right, just to give you an idea of where things are. Here's Jericho. Here's Gilgal. We've already talked about how the approach. There are three different routes to get up the mountainside from the Jordan Valley that you got to come up. And all of them come up right around Jericho, right here, and go over to Bethel, just north of Ai, which is right here. Goes just a little bit north and a little bit south. So the approach they would have done is they would have come right up here through the territory they had already cleared out. And remember, what they do with the people in these places that they defeated? Killed them. So who was there? Just a few Israelites, probably, kind of small group troops or whatever to secure the area. The cities were gone, the people were gone, it's basically wiped out. So they came and went as they will. And then we find that they went to Gibeon. Gibeon, the battle and everything took place at Gibeon. And back out for just a second here. What you're going to find is Gibeon is here just north of Jerusalem. I think it's about 10 miles or so. It's not very far, maybe less, 9 miles. It's right in that area right here. The kings that were mentioned, all of them were kings from all around in this southern region, which would later become part of Judah, the nation of Judah. And so it all become part of that. They're all from around in there. And the king of Jerusalem down there is the one that gets upset and calls together all his friends and says, oh my goodness, one of them has betrayed us. And so they go up and they put siege around Gibeon. We find that word is sent to Joshua. He comes up. He attacks them, surprise attacks them, and they start fleeing. Well, to run, the best way is to go out of the mountains. And I'll back it up just a little bit, maybe you can see it better. You see right through the middle, this area right here, how sharp this is to the Jordan Valley. Well, right here is the foothills. And out here is the coastal plain. So basically everything just keeps running right off here. So what happens is they start running. Now, most of their territory is to the south. But as when I was talking about Jesus one night or whatever, the reason Jesus took the Jordan River Valley so much is because the terrain north and south through this area is so rough, you're basically going up and down and over mountains, and you're wiping and climbing. So it's easier to get out of the mountains, run down the valley, and then climb back into them. That's basically what they do here. So the Bible says that they fled. They fled toward, what's the name of the town? Yeah. All these towns get me. It's that town right there. Beth Horon. Pursued on the road to Beth Horon, which is what it says if I could read Hebrew. Beth Horon. And basically, what you're going to see right here, and we'll zoom in here, is they're up on a high place, and they go up a road that basically goes to a high point right here. And then they drop down into the valley. Talks about them going through the valley and going out into the valley of whatever it's called. You've got your Bible, look at the words, because I can't pronounce all that stuff, even if I can read it. And as they would proceed out of there, then they come right out here, and here's the edge of the foothills there. All right, so once you do that, well, first of all, let's do this real quickly. Right here, across from Beth Horon, is a good view of the valley. This is looking back toward the town of Gibeon, which would be right here. They would come down through here. Mount Horon would be right over here. They would come down this valley, see the road? And they would come, and then they would go out this way, and you can see the coastal plain in the distance there, because basically it's a big valley that comes straight out in the coastal plain. As a matter of fact, there's two main roads that come out of Jerusalem that goes to Tel Aviv. This is one of them. We went down the other one, but both of them is considered a long, gradual plane, and it goes forever, because we left at night, Sue and I did, to catch the plane in Tel Aviv, which is Joppa. And as we left, and we started going down these mountains, we just did it for miles and miles, and you could see the whole city over on the coast lit up. And it was like 15 or 20 minutes, and we just kept going. And it's just that steep, and it's just a long, gradual thing until you get to this big valley. And basically, that's what you're looking at there. All right. All right, so now, when you get out here, you come out of the valley, and you come out and you see how flat the plain is there. As you do this, and you start to move south, this is south. Back it up. See, right up here is where you come out of the valley, right up here, and you run right down here, and then right here is the place that's called Tel Azekah. Remember in our reading, the battle began at Gibeon. It went down through the valley into the plain of, and then it starts with an A-I-I-J or something. Yes, that one. That's where God stopped the sun for an hour, for all day, for 24 hours. And then they run south through that valley, which is down through here, right along the edge of this, which is really the coastal plain of whatever that is, and come to this town, this place that's called Azekah. That is basically the place the Bible says they chased them all the way to there. And just before they get there, they corner the kings. And the battle stops right here. Those kings are cornered. And as you come down from up here through this valley, they're right in here somewhere. Right here is Stalactite Cave Natural Reserve. And I've got some pictures. We'll look at some of that here in a minute. But basically, this is a large area in the side, and right on the side of the mountains that is just covered with caves. So it's the natural place for the town of Makkah, right, or whatever you say it, Makkah, where the cave was, and where the troops actually ended up stopping and before they advanced any further, past this town right here of Azekah. All right. So basically, they come here, they kill the kings in the cave, and then they proceed on to take Azekah, or the other town is right beside it, Makkah, which is where the troops stopped. They would proceed on from there, and they would go on down to live they would go on down to there, to Lachish, and then on down to what would be, let me look at the list of the cities. Lachish, Libnah, Lachish, Eglon, which is here, Hebron. And from Hebron, they would go south into Dever, which is just south of the city of Hebron. Now, hopefully that'll be a kind of back it up. Minimize this. All right, here's a map. Kind of give it perspective. We looked at some of those places in the terrain. They start right here. They go up the mountain. They go to Gibeon. They fight the battle. They run out through the valley. They come on down past Gezer, which is going to appear later in the text. Then we get to Makeda, which is right at as they're learn to memorize this stuff. Where the battle they ran, the rest of that battle ended, or whatever. And as they got here, then they had the battle, and then they proceeded on to town, to town, to town, to town, defeating the kings and the cities and the people that were left there. All right, we'll look at these in just a minute this week. Good. Let's look at the scripture. Let's look at this. All right, first of all, King of Jerusalem is the one that starts this going on. Why does he start it? What's his problem? Israelites hadn't bothered him, had they? No. He was scared. Exactly, he was scared. He finds that one of his other royal cities, which are the main walled cities where the kings live, of Gibeon, just to the north, not very far, has already made a treaty with Israel. They've already heard what he's done to Ai. They already know Bethel's gone, and all that area over there is under Israel's control and been obliterated. And now all of a sudden they find that just to the north of them, between them and the territory that Israel has taken, has also, those people have said, gone and made a treaty with Israel. And so now all of a sudden they're a little worried, and so they decide to take it out on Gibeon. So they get all the rest of their royal cities and the kings together, and basically southern Israel, the area of Judah as we would know it. And they get all those kings together and says, okay, let's go wipe out Gibeon. They made a deal with them they shouldn't have. They're on our side. They betrayed us. Furthermore, if we go and get all these others against them, then King of Jerusalem didn't have to worry about the other kings making deals with him. So he kind of gets them all together to go to Gibeon. They surround it, and they attack Gibeon, and they start a war with it. Well, what does Gibeon do? Call for their friends. They go, you remember that treaty you signed? And of course, Israel kind of grumbled a little bit. And he said, well, we're calling on that treaty. You've got to come defend us. So we find that when they do this, that God tells Joshua, what? Don't be afraid. I'm going to give them to you. They're not going to be able to stand against them. You'll be victorious. You're going to win. Go for it. So Joshua, in the middle of the night, heads out and makes his trek. Seeing the rugged terrain, how it is to go up the mountains, so he brings the whole army of Israel up toward Ai. And as he comes toward Ai, he goes down the main road or whatever that runs up and down. You can see right there in the mountain country. And he heads down toward Gibeon. And when he gets to Gibeon, he arrives in the dark, early morning. We don't know exactly what time, but it says he marched all night. So he comes right in here, and surprise, surprise, they're barely even awake. They've been, taking a nap because wartime's during the day. So they were getting ready for the next day, and suddenly up comes the Israelite army from behind them, and that was the last thing they expected. They were getting in the process of destroying Gibeon, and they weren't not expecting Israel to come racing up behind them. So the Bible says that God throws them into a disarray, or fear, or panic. It depends on the word or whatever your Bible says or whatever. But basically the whole idea of they all panicked and ran, fled. And as they rout the enemy, they're defeated there in a great victory at Gibeon. And then Israel pursues them all the way to Beth-horon, which is just a little bit away, right on the edge of the valley, and continues to chase them up to Bethron and then down into the valley and out toward the plain and chases them down. And then, of course, they turn and go south, as we talked about, and they start running whatever. During this process, we find that Joshua needs a little help. So what does he do? He does. First of all, here's a picture of Gibeon. This is the hillside of Gibeon looking off away from the town to the modern part, but right here is the old part of Gibeon. This right here is the valley. We looked at it where Gibeon would be, and proceeding on down the valley where Bethhoron is up here, coming down right here. They would proceed out from there. During this part of the battle, calls for God, as John mentioned, and he said, ask God to hold the sun and the moon to stand still. Why? More time. So they go ahead and defeat them. And so that's basically what God did, is he held it still so that they could continue to defeat them. Anyway, so they have an extra 24 hours a day. He prays to God, and God says, sure. That's not normally something done, is it? Or is it? No? Do what? It's the only time in history that the sun has stood still like that time. Okay? So that was a very unique thing. So after this, delayed for a full day, then they pursue them down this road into the valley, and as they head south, they head toward the plain. This is what the plain looks like. You can see it right here as you're looking back toward the mountains from the foothills to see kind of what the plain is as you would go off to the west, which would be toward Tel Aviv, Joppa, and that area over there. So this is the plain here that they would come out into, and then they would start running south from there. As they're running south, here's a cave. You see that cave right there? That's the way the whole country looks like. This is a cave that's right in that national park that I said that's right on the way, right on the foothills on the side of the mountains there to the east. This is what the inside of the caves look like. Carlsbad Caverns are some of the fancy ones we would have. Actually, the rocks and everything over there, the hills, are limestone, just like we have a lot here, which causes this kind of erosion and stuff. So that's what you find on the caves. All right, so this is where the city of, I want to get that right yet. Somebody find it. Tell me what it is. You don't know which one I want. The city that they marched all night or all day, and the battle ended for the first part. Road Bethhoron, pursued down the yeah, there it is. I want to circle that. I want to circle that. So I can find it. All right, we're pursued to Azekah. This is Azekah right here. This is the point looking back at the valley. This would be the area of Makkedah where they would have approached. And so we find that the army comes, chases them, and in this area right in here we find the caves. And in those caves, what happens to those 5 kings? What do? They hide. Like somebody else I know. Who was that? Saddam Hussein. Did he hide in the hole? Yeah. When the army continued on, and Joshua tells them, okay, they found in the caves. He said, cover it up, close it up, put rocks on it so they can't get out and put a guard on it, but don't stop the battle. So they didn't stop. They ran all the way until they came to this point right here, which is the town of Azekah. God, the first time today. And so they would be encamped right out here while the people had retreated to their cities, Zika being the first one, which is part of Makeda, and they would be camped here. While they were camped here, we find that Joshua goes back. In the reading we didn't read today, he comes upon these 5 kings, and he gets them out of the cave. What does he do with them? He executes them. He kills them. Matter of fact, it says Joshua kills them. It doesn't say he had it done. He may have, but it says Joshua killed them, and then he took and hung them. As we mentioned before, hanging is not hanging like the Wild West days. Hanging is to place the body on a spike so that everybody can see we won the dead body, right? Basically put them on a pole. At sundown, they get the bodies down. Where do they put them? Back in the cave. They said, you wanted to be there? There you go. They put them back in there, and they covered it up with rocks that are there to this day. The writing of this book. And so they basically buried the kings of these 5 cities, these big 5 royal cities, in this cave here in this valley, or on the side of the hill here, where these caves are right here. All right? That finishes that long battle that began in the middle of the night all the way over in Gilgal. Long day, lots of time. God gave them a lot of time to make all this possible. So they get to here. The Bible says then that they camped right here in this valley. And this is the place where they would begin the southern campaign, where they would go on from there. So then it says that they turn around and they defeated Makeda, which is this area right in here, and which is also part of Azekah, which is this particular area here. Cave, there's a cave that's actually right at the foot of that hill there, whatever, and it's just a hole in the ground. Just like all those around there, and it could have been very well that it was more of a smaller cave with an entrance big enough for them to get in and hide, or like the rat hole or whatever it was that Saddam Hussein did. Now, actually, this whole battle reminds me a lot of that particular time in our history. If you remember, when Saddam Hussein's army was run out of Kuwait, basically they fled. Remember that? And they fled all the way back to Baghdad. And all the way to Baghdad, they were running. And the army chased them. Military chased them, and the Air Force bombed them. You know what God did to these people? I forgot to mention, I read it. During that battle, God dropped hailstones down on the people and killed more people from hail than the Israelites killed by sword. So it's basically the same thing. It was just a continual slaughter all the way down back to this place. All right? This is Azekah, looking, now that they've defeated it, and they start looking to the south. What's to the south? Toward Libnah. Libnah will be the next town on the list that they'll head toward. They go down to Libnah, and when they arrive there, it says they defeated them in one day. Defeated them? What did they do to the king? Killed him. What did they do to the people? Killed them. How many survived? None. From there, they come up to this is Libnah. This is the top of it, the ruins there. And then as they leave Libnah, they head to Lachish. At Lachish, there's the mound there. Tell Lachish, this is the place, and they go there, they would kill the king. Now, one of the kings is already dead. I mean, the king of Lachish was one of those that was one of the 5 kings. The 5 kings, by the way, we read them, but the 5 kings hiding in the cave were from... Anyway, Jerusalem, and Lachish is one of them, Hebrew is one of them, and Eglon, and maybe some other, Egon or whatever. So here they are, they come to Lachish, they defeat them. But this was a bigger battle. It took them 2 days to do it. When they were done, it took longer because you remember that town of Gezer I mentioned? Gezer sent their king and his army come racing over to help them at the Battle of Lachish. The Bible says that they killed that king and all his army, as well as Lachish, his king, and all those people. His king was already gone. So, and this is the leftover army that had retreated back to their city. So they took them. It took 2 days, and they took out this other city of Gezer, the army and the king of that city. It didn't take the city. It was down in the coastal plain, closer toward Joppa would be in the future. All right. Go here. This is Lachish, looking through the valley, going toward Libnah, which is the next town that they would head to. They go to Libnah. This is the ruins at Lachish, actually. This is Lachish. Okay, this is going toward Eglon. We already came from Libnah. All right. We're now going to Eglon, which is the next valley, toward, actually kind of toward the south and west. And as they look toward there, then go to Eglon. When they defeat this, what happens to the king? Killed. All the people? Killed. Complete. After that, they head, this is Eglon right here. Then they head toward Hebron. This is the road toward Hebron. This is Hebron over here in the hills over here. Trying to get back up in the hills more. This is Hebron. This is the old wall that dates back to the time of Joshua right here, city wall. This is a walkway that led into this, around inside the city. This here is a city gate. It does not date to Joshua, but it is an older gate of the city. These are some of the ruins found in Hebron. When I say Hebron, Hebron is a large city today, but this is the ancient part of it in one small area, which we saw on the map we looked at. After that, they leave from there and they head toward Debir. Right here is that town there. In both of the, in Hebron, what does it say they did in Hebron? It says they killed the king, all the people, and all the villages. See, Hebron was more of a metropolitan area, I guess, had villages all around it or whatever. It says they destroyed all the villages. Same thing when it gets to this town here in Debir, the last one. It says that it went through here, and it's up here, destroyed it and all the villages and all the towns and everything all the way around and all the people. You get to that, after you go through all of that, it's summarized in the last few verses that we read in chapter 10. Saying that he had subdued the whole region, including the hill country, the Negev, the western foothills. Let me go back and get the map. All right. So it says that they had subdued all the foothills, the whole region, including the Negev, which is this area right here. The western foothills, this area right here. The mountain slopes, and together with all their hills, and left no survivors, together with all their kings, no survivors. Totally destroyed all who breathed, just as the Lord, the God of Israel, commanded. Later on this year, we're going to be studying Judges. And in Judges, we're going to find that later on they would not do that. And because they didn't destroy all that, the judges would end up with all kinds of problems. But Joshua, when given the task, he did exactly what God said. And he trusted God to do exactly what he said he would do. So basically, at this particular time, it says that he subdued the area from Kadesh Barnea, which is right down in here, all the way up to Gibeon. And then from, Goshen to Gibeon. All right, there's Gibeon. Goshen is down right in here. Gibeon, and then Kadesh Barnea to Gaza. That's over right here. So basically you're looking at this area right here that he subdued. And if you ever looked at the map, northern kingdom of Israel and the southern kingdom of Judah, that's pretty much Judah. Pretty much. The only places that are left in that area over to the west, which is where the Philistines live along the river. And David would have to deal with them later in history or whatever. So basically they conquered all of them, they wiped them all out all the way down to this area. No reference is made to what they did in Jerusalem and Bethlehem, but they subdued that whole area. They killed their king in Jerusalem, so more likely they may not have destroyed the city of Jerusalem, but it says that they destroyed everybody and everything through there. All right, that's chapter 10. As we look at that, and we look at a couple of things real quick before we break, one of the things I want to think about is that the Lord of Israel fought for them. Verse 42. The Lord of Israel fought for them. Because he was responsible for the defeat. And that's what Joshua said. When we look at our lives today, when he fought for the people of Israel, who does he fight for today? Israel today. Israel, spiritual Israel. Many times we think physical, but no. He fights for God's people. We're God's people today. We're told that it's those who follow after Abraham in living a life of faith. Right? In Romans, that's God, that's Christ, Christians. Those who have chosen to follow after him. And that is the one that God fights for today. So today, if we want to take a lesson from this, one of the things we need to remember is that God's fighting for us today. So if he's fighting for us today, we can raise our hand and ask him for anything, can't we? Is he going to do it? He did it for Joshua. Why did he do it for Joshua? His faith and his plan, his will. See, sometimes we forget the two different parts. There's two parts to God doing things. We can ask him for things. Jesus even said we can ask him for things, but God's not going to give us a rock when we ask for a fish. You know? Sometimes we're always asking for a snake. Sometimes we're always asking for a snake when we really need a fish and we don't know the difference. So God fights for his people in a way that accomplishes his will. And so sometimes when we ask, it's not his will, and so it doesn't happen. But the reality is, a lot of times, if it's in line with his will, he does it. We ask and we pray for healing, we pray for different events and different things to take place. And many, many, many times God has answered our prayers. Because it's within God's his will, and it's for the benefit of his people. So God will always do that just like he did with Joshua. It's no different. So he listens to man and he acts. He does things. One other thing I want to touch on is that long day. There are some people who say it never happened because they can't find it in science. Others think they found it in science. The answer is, to me, it really doesn't matter. You know, it's like everything else. We take it on faith or we don't. But it's not just that. If it happened, it doesn't mean that the universe kept going while the sun didn't. God could have stopped it all. So there would be no trace of it. I mean, if you think about it, if you froze everything and let all this action take place and everything else in the universe was standing still or frozen in place, you wouldn't know anything about it anyway. So people who try to argue one way or the other that thing, I think are missing the point. The point is, if you believe what the Bible says, it happened. And you don't necessarily have to confirm everything that you find based on geography or archaeology or scientific whatever, because some things God just did, just like man struggles to try to explain creation. You know, we try to struggle hard and everybody comes up with all kinds of theories. The bottom line is, it doesn't matter how you get it, you get it. And that's the point that needs to be made. So when we talk about that, that's one thing to remember there. Any other comments? No.
As a soldier, this is quite impressive by what those men were able to endure to. I mean, from Isaiah 40, they will run and not be weary. This is definitely, they have a forced march 20 miles They continued to attack. And the day, however long it said it was a longer day than normal, they continued to attack, continued. All this to God was giving them some superhuman abilities too. I was watching soldiers in combat. About 72 hours is about the extent that you can go. And without, I mean, literally you were down hard after 72 hours of constant work. It's amazing. Just the physical aspect of it was amazing.
They didn't have a tank to ride in either.
No.
Or a transport or whatever.
All the weapons.
They carried everything.
Food, water.
Yeah, everything to survive and fight with was on their back.
Just amazing.
All right, thank you. See you next week. Next week, we're going to look at the defeat of the northern kingdoms, the northern kings and such that were up there.